Salaki, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom, Brother Naquam, Watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another Monday Night Fire, giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach, Malak Bashai, double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting and laboring for the second coming of our Lord Yahushai. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom to those men. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent, and they're abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom to those men. Shalom to all of the Akwath out there, the sincere sisters out there, zealous and diligent and on fire, moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom to the ancient men. Shalom to the children. Shalom to the elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And shalom to everybody tuning in live through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashmi Abishai, Elder Daria Wash, Shalom, Nigel Blends, Philly Sports, Princess Judah, Eliania, Hoshai 144K, Yafei Israel, Benjamin Youngwolf, and again, everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. The evils of isolation, right? The evils of isolation. Let's dive right into it. And this is a very, very, very important topic because these are the days where brotherhood should be the most important thing when it comes to how men operate in the last days. And brotherhood is a weapon. If it's used in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, leadership is a weapon. Unity is a weapon against death. It's against evil spirits. It's against doubt. It's against depression. It's against all the forces that Satan is coming with in the last days. And, you know, brothers that may willfully isolate themselves from the brotherhood, you know, essentially you think that you may be able to do it alone. You think in your mind that you're going to be able to have that same spirit and same strength. And some brothers may for a while, but when you separate from that brotherhood and when you begin to detach yourself, then you find yourself in a situation where you may not have brothers to be able to hold you accountable, support you, exhort you, lift you up when things are down, right? And the Most High said this first and foremost in Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and 9. Two are better than one, for they have a good reward for their labor, right? So they're able to be more productive and more importantly, more efficient at whatever they put their hand to. So in this truth, you can't do it by yourself. There's not one man of the elect that just was solo. He did it by himself the whole time. He didn't have any help. No, right? David had Jonathan and his mighty men. Yahushua, he didn't do it by himself. Yahushua had his brothers with him, huh? Yahushua had Peter, he had John, he had James, he had the rest of the men whom the Most High gave and to whom he was given to. Moses had Aaron and Hur and different men. So you read about men who the Most High had around brothers to be able to help them, no matter what their position or what their title was or how much wisdom they had or what type of authority they had. The Most High shows you that you need brothers around you to be able to help you in times of need, right? And again, this labor is also this work. You know, when the Most High said two are better than one, for they have a good reward for their labor, on a spiritual level, your reward is the kingdom. You understand? And your labor is you doing this work and you striving and going through the straight gate and laboring for Yahweh Bashmi Awashah. Verse 10, for if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. See, if you fall by, and we're all going to fall. The scriptures say even a just man, let me get that in Proverbs 24:16, right? A just man falleth 7 times, right? This Proverbs 24:16. For a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. And it's hard to pick yourself up when you fall. A lot of times, brothers, they sin, they fall short, and they doubt if they can ever get back up. They ask themselves, is the Most High dealing with me? They let their sins weigh them down. You know, they're wondering, is it even worth still, keeping the commandments and believing in Yahweh Shai. Some people go to the bottle, they drink their sorrows away. Some people go back to the world, they get comfort and weed and lust and folly. So it's not as easy as the precept says when it comes to rising up again. Some men can do it. All praise to the Most High, brothers that do it, who may be by themselves. And that does happen. But how much easier it is if you're trying to lift yourself up, but you have your brother there to lift you up when you fall. He can lift you up through the precepts. He can lift you up through counsel. Brother can just lift you up by being present. Just his presence alone can lift up your spirit. And there are certain precepts or laws and instruction and counsel that you can't keep if you by yourself. Let me get that in. Let me get one of those examples real quick that made me think of Galatians, the 6th chapter. Right? This made me think of Galatians chapter 6 and verse number 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. So you're commanded to be I'll ask this, how can you apply this scripture if you isolate yourself and you're by yourself? That would be selfish. A lot of brothers, they only think about themselves and what benefits them. Well, I'm gonna be by myself. I don't want to be around no brothers. I got this. I'll do it by myself. Well, first of all, brother, the scriptures don't teach you that, because you're supposed to be there to lift up your brother when he falls. If he falls by sin and he's overtaken by that demon, you're supposed to restore that man. So this truth isn't about you. You can't, being an individual, like how they say in Israel, or being a solo dolo Israelite is off because you're not utilizing the precepts. You're not going to be able to follow these precepts. You're not going to be able to be your brother's keeper. You're not going to be able to lift up your brother and restore him when his hands get weak. Galatians 6 and 2. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Hamashiach. For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. Because a lot of brothers may think that they're too good to be around brothers. Some brothers think that they're too what's the word I'm looking for? Their self-esteem may be low. They may feel like they're nothing. They may feel like, I won't be accepted. Right? You're deceiving yourself. And brothers have to step outside of that shell, that introvert spirit, which is hindering you from being held accountable. It's hindering you at times from getting the help that you need, because you're too shy. The scriptures speak about much bashfulness can overthrow a brother, So there are certain laws and precepts. We can go through many of them where you can only actually keep them if you're around brothers, and you're limited to keep those precepts for yourself and to help out others if you are by yourself, right? Let's go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and let's read 10 again. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and 10. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him. Again, if two lie together, they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? Right? See that? And a heat is really this word, this fire that the Most High has in these scriptures. His word is like a fire. And if you don't have that heat, you'll die in this spiritual wintertime. This is the time of darkness. This is the time of the cold. This is the time of the elements and the world being against us. So you need that heat. You need to be with brothers. And a lot of times, again, a demon will convince you that you can do it by yourself, that you don't need the brotherhood. Some brothers get a lot of understanding and knowledge, and a demon is attached with that and makes them believe that the wisdom or understanding that they've been given is a right for them to be able to isolate from brothers. I'm done better. I could do this. I don't need y'all brothers. Y'all can't do nothing for me. The Most High is dealing with me. Well, that's a demon on that brother. Some brothers have strife and oughts. You understand, and it leads to detachment and things of that nature. You know, that's why it's good to communicate. It's good to speak. You understand? The Lord said, but to do good and communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices, the Most High is well pleased. Right? So it's good to have that brotherhood. It's good to have men around you to be able to help you and lift you up. Right? Let's go to Hebrews chapter 10. These aren't the days, man. There's so many forces against us. Right? There are so many forces and spirits working against us. We need the brotherhood. And you sisters, man, you need the sisterhood more than ever. Right? This is Hebrews chapter 10 and verse number 24. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works. So you can't just consider yourself, right? You have to consider one another. What would happen if I leave this brotherhood? What effect will it have on the next individual? What effect is it going to have on a brother who may look at me as an example, or who may look at my family as an example, or who may look to me for counsel and wisdom? Let me not consider myself, but let me consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as ye see the day approaching. And we do see the day of the Lord approaching, right? We do see destruction. We see earthquakes killing thousands of individuals, right? We see wildfires, and we see Iranian wars and ceasefires that turn into non-ceasefires and destruction, and AI technology taking over, and prison camps being built and bought, guillotines. We see the day approaching, right? So these are the days where we have to assemble. Let me read this again. Not for a sit, and this is war. This is war right here that we're in. What good is it is an army that's scattered abroad? Let me hold this. Let me go to Jeremiah chapter 50 real quick. Right? Jeremiah chapter 50. Let's see, 50 and I'm looking at maybe 51, Salakia. Okay, this is what I want, Salakia. Jeremiah 51 and verse 12. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes, for the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. So the Most High says, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Now, what is the standard? Let's go into that word, right? Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. The walls of Babylon represent the high places, right? Represent these chief concourses, represent these cities, represent the places where the people go in and out from. And the Lord said, set up the standard. Now, let me go to this word through the Spirit in the Hebrew, right? And let's see what this goes into. Now, the word standard, it says something lifted up, standard, signal, signal pole, ensign, banner, sign, sail, standard, as a rallying point, signal. So when you have war and when you have an army and they're scattered abroad, for whatever the case may be, maybe the battle began to spread abroad the battlefield, and some of the soldiers are over here and some of the cavalry is over here, the archers are back over here. And in the ancient world, in ancient warfare, a man was assigned with the standard, and it may have been a flag that had a family crest on it. Maybe it had the name of his country on it, or the banner of his country, and he would lift that up. And when he lifted that up and they blew the trumpet, all the people would know to gather to that rallying point, gather to that standard. So it was a form of assimilating the army before it got to the point where they were too scattered abroad and they would lose the battle. Right? Let me pull this up. What is a rallying point in battle? Okay, let's see. See this? A rallying point is a pre-designated location, which is this Bible, this truth, on a battlefield where scattered, disoriented, or retreating troops are ordered to regroup reorganize, and rearm. You see that? So it's a pre-designated location because the rallying point is the truth, the Bible, the word of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua. And how is it pre-designated? Because this word has been ordained of old. The promises have been ordained of old. The judgments have been ordained of old. And the battlefield is the life that we're dealing with in this so-called man's world, man. The Most High speaks about the condition of the battle. That man that is born upon the earth shall fight. Let me get that real quick. That if he be overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said. So we're all on this battlefield. All right, the second Ezra, chapter 7 and verse number 57. Then answered he me and said, this is the condition of the battle, that man that is born upon the earth shall fight. So everybody has to fight a particular battle in his truth, right? No matter what it may be. Some brothers, they're going to fight health infirmities. Some brothers are going to fight divorce and marital problems. Some brothers are going to fight hell at your job. Some brothers are going to fight death in the family. Some brothers are going to have you may have multiple fights. The conditions of your battle are predisposed by Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua. As if you live in some type of a simulator that the Most High made. And the people and the environment and your conditions have already been created. And you're just placed in that world. And you have to deal with it. If you're born in that world, you have to fight all the obstacles and opposition that comes with it. And if you lose that battle, you don't have 3 lives. You don't have 7 lives. You don't get to try again. If you lose, you get destroyed. That's what this means, that if he be overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said. But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say. You know? And then those video games back in the day, they had a let me get Amos in here. Shalom, King.
Khan, Shalom, King. How about you, man? Shabbat.
Shalom. Can you hear me?
Khan, can you hear me?
Yeah, Khan. All praise to the Most High.
Khan, all praise to the Most High. Y'all about you, man? Shabbat.
How you feeling?
Smooth through the spirit. All praise to the Most High. How about yourself?
Ready for this lesson. All praise to the Most High. All praise.
Khan.
Yeah, this is needed. I was saying, they got a thing called co-op. I believe that's what it's called. Where you got where it's that where they used to have a split. I don't know what they do now, but basically they had the split screen, and you had a brother there, whoever you was playing with, to help you win those battles, man. You know, some of them things, games back in the day, they had like a life elixirs, your co-op partner. That's the name of it, right, King? Was it co-op, or am I tripping?
I believe so. Yeah, it might have been co-op where you play together.
Yeah, when you play together, right? You might be dying. You might have got shot. Somebody come over, they could help you out, and y'all could win that battle easier, man. You know, so that's how battles are determined. They're pre-designed, and you need brothers to help you. And that standard that's lifted up is a rallying point. And back to the definition, it says a rallying point is a pre-designated location on a battlefield where scattered abroad, disoriented, meaning our people are bugged out, confused, don't have a heritage, nationality, or retreating troops, retreating from the police, retreating from the so-called white man, retreating from these demons. So you are ordered. It is not optional. You're ordered to regroup, reorganize, and rearm. Now, if they lifted up that rallying point and that standard in war, and you made a decision to say, I don't want to regroup, and you'll die. Because who makes the call for the rallying point to be lifted up? The general, the king. Who's the king? Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua. And he's able to see those ancient kings. They could see the whole battlefield. You know, they were calling the shots and blowing trumpets and making men go. They could see the whole battle. So they knew when it was time to march, when it was time to regroup. They saw it best. They had a better vision of the thing. You couldn't see because you're in your own little world. So they know when it's time to regroup, reorganize, and rearm. Let me read this and you got it, King. It serves as a vital tool to prevent chaos, reestablish unit cohesion, and allow commanders to issue fresh tactical orders, right? So these are rallying points that the Most High gave. And that's what he's saying in Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse number 12 again. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. That's that rallying point in the Hebrew. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchman, which is plural. That's not just one watchman. Prepare the ambushes, for the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. So the Most High is declaring war. So we have to gather together to fulfill his will. Right? But you got it, King.
All praise to the Most High. And as we get closer unto these last days, the harder it's going to be to stay in the spirit by yourself. Right? We're approaching these hours, well, the hour of temptation. Right? No man knows how the temptation is going to tempt you. Right? My temptation may be harder than this brother's right here. This brother's temptation may be harder than mine. But the best way to go about it is to be continuously with godly men. Right? And sisters who you know to keep the command. Let's get that in Sirach 37, verse number 12. Right? Because our minds, though we have our minds fixated on the commandments, we're susceptible to go off, have evil thoughts, right? Things that lead you astray. But it's the importance of having somebody there to hold you accountable, right? Accountability is something that Israel doesn't talk about a lot, right? They like to sweep things under the rug, right? They act like actions and things that are said, they just go out the window and nobody's held to a certain standard, right? But in these last days, you need people to hold you accountable. And the reason people will hold you accountable is because nobody wants to see you fall, because you could be the next person in those shoes, right? This is Sirach chapter 37 and verse number 12. It says, but be continually with a godly man whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord. Right? The Lord didn't say be by yourself and just watch videos all day and don't talk to anybody. No, we're commanded to be around godly men who we know to keep the commandments. Men who you tried, right? Men who've battle tested, men who fasted with you, men who prayed with you, men who broke down precepts with you. That's who you should continually be around, right? Not these people in the world who will give you a bottle and a blunt until you get over it, or the people in the world who will call up girls that they know to add more sorrow onto you. No, you want to be around people who can mend your wounds with the precepts, right? Who can help you out in these last days and guide you so that you can guide your household better, right? I'm going to start from the top again. But be continually with a godly man whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou miscarry. Right? What does it mean when you miscarry? It means when you fall short. Right? The expectation that you had of yourself, you may not have been able to achieve, but that person can sorrow with you. Right? That person can look you in the eye and say, it's been a rough day, a rough week, so on and so forth. But tomorrow, if the Most High grants it, we're going to do better. Right? Everybody needs that person in their corner. Right? Verse number 13, and let the counsel of thy own heart stand, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. Right? So you have to make sure that you're not just around people just for namesake. Right? Your heart should be able to guide you in the right path to friends who you know who will reprove you, right? Give you the proper wisdom you need to move in these last days. Right? So don't think that I can do this alone. Well, I know the brother brought out Ecclesiastes 4 and 9 already, but 2 is always better than 1. Right? You can't have conversations with yourself. Right? If you can, you may have to be in the crazy house. Right? But you need somebody there, because you're not always going to be able to rely on your own strength. Right? Even Yahushua asked the disciples and the apostles to tarry with him
Right.
just a little bit. He needed help. Right, let's go to Zephaniah 2:1. It's the classic. Right? Forget that individual like spirit in these last days. Right? It causes division. Right? It ceases from the brotherly love that it can be dispersed throughout all Israel. Right? We forget that we didn't come over here as individuals. We came over here as a nation. We're suffering as a nation. We're trying to get ourselves together as a nation. So how much more in the sight of Yahweh Shem Yahushai if we're coming together praying and fasting? We even did nationwide fast. Right? We have to come back to that mind frame of us. Right? It was a movement back in the day. I don't know if you remember it, King. It started in Detroit. Right? It was Detroit versus everybody. I believe that's how it was.
Yep.
Right? That's the mind frame we have to have right now. Israel against everybody. And we have to realize that we have a common enemy. We have a common goal that we're trying to get to. And the only people who are going to help you are the people who are on the same path as you. Right? Brothers can't look at each other as enemies in these last days. Right? That's all dead and gone. Right? That's null and void in these last days, man. We're family. And as family, I want to see you get to be the best Israelite you can be, your household, and those who you congregate with, as well as how you should look at me. Right? But this is Zephaniah chapter 2:1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Right? So the Lord is commanding us to gather together. Right? Put our pride to the side. Put aside all the things that are heavy and things that are minute. Right? We're supposed to gather together. Right? It's beautiful when you see camps get together and they talk. Right? Break bread, show brotherly love. There's no hostility. Right? It's a rarity in this world, man. They promote that in music and TV. Right? You turn on the radio, all you hear is, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to rob him, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's a breath of fresh air to be able to look at a brother and hug him and say, Shalom, Ak, it's good to see you again. Right? It's a breath of fresh air to see children hug and run around and play together. Right? Sisters coming together and you know, a good time. Right? This is the beautiful things that the Most High has put in place for those who do gather together. Right? One more precept, then you got it, King. Let's go to Luke chapter 22 and verse number 30. I'm not sure if you brought this out already.
I ain't bring it out.
Con. Right? So this is Luke chapter, I'm gonna start at 31. Right? This is Luke 22 and 31. And the Lord says, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, and that he may sift you out as wheat. Right? So you can be on a high spiritual level to examine and see that Satan is trying to overthrow a brother. Right? A brother may be down fighting a lust demon. Brother may be down fighting a weed demon. Right? Financial woes, marriage problems. Right? His I don't know, his car's acting up. Right? You see Satan trying to plague and devour a brother. But what the Lord say? But I have prayed for thee. Right? You can't have somebody pray for you if you're by yourself. Right? And we know what the Lord said about the righteous fervent prayer of a righteous man. It availeth much, loosely paraphrasing. So if you want to isolate yourself and be by yourself because you're offended at something small, or you know you're not in the spirit enough to work something out, nobody's going to be able to pray for you. Nobody's going to know that you're going through things. Right? And I always tell brothers, the best battles are fought when there's more warriors there. Right? They call them prayer warriors in the church. Right? Imagine if you got 100 mighty brothers praying for you that you can defeat this demon. How much more is the strength of the Most High going to be on you? Right? He said, but I pray for thee that thy faith fail not, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. Right? That's the key point at the end of this verse of 32. Strengthen thy brethren. You can't strengthen your brethren if you don't want to interact with your brothers. You can't strengthen your brethren if you're neglecting the the coming together of one another. Right? That's totally against what Yahweh Shem Yahushua has commanded us to do. Right? A lot of people, they get puffed up in knowledge and pride, and they have a position, so they don't want to seem like they're weak or be subservient to anybody else. At the end of the day, we're all going to be subservient to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right? It tells you to honor the king, kiss the king. So you're going to be in order any type of way. So it should start now while we're in this captivity, humbling ourselves and knowing that we need one another. Right? I need brothers to answer the phone when I call. I got to be there for brothers when they call me. Right? We have to shake that individual like mind state. But you got it, King.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about what this devil has done to bring about division, right? You would think that we would weaponize the precepts and the brotherhood to combat all of the confusion that he's been trying to bring, man. Think about it from the time of slavery, dropping everybody off different places, selling families, dividing up the children, dividing up the sons from the fathers, from the mothers. You read about Deuteronomy 28, verse 30 through 32, and Deuteronomy 28, 54, and all these curses that we're subject to. And the Most High used the so-called white man to bring about these devices, to bring about Willie Lynch, to bring about light-skinned, dark-skinned, old and young, to have the CIA create and infiltrate particular gangs to fight over street corners, over colors. You got people now, they can't even wear particular sports logos and things like that, man. You know, you wear a particular hat with this logo on it, then you might get murdered, you might get robbed, right? You might get damn shot, man. You know, kidnapped or something. There's the Negro mind looks for every reason to bring about division because he's divided from the Most High. Some people look for anything, especially Jake, man. Corners, clubs, sports teams. What else, Jake? Music, LeBron, Mike. People are divided to this day over LeBron and Michael Jordan. I remember I was watching years ago the Last Dance documentary with Michael Jordan, and they had the brother Michael Wilbon on there, the announcer, and he said when they was playing, because he was from Chicago, and he said when they was playing the Detroit Pistons in that late 80s, that late 80s time, he said, man, if you have family from Detroit, he said we have family in Detroit, and during those playoffs or during that season, we didn't talk to one another. He said it was like life or death. He said that, and he meant that. That's how sick our people are, man. When the Pistons are playing the Bulls, families cut off. And they mean that. Some people take that sports and stuff to heart. So I'm just making a point that, man, these devils have done, and our people with their own folly have brought about so much discord and confusion. You would think with the door being open for repentance, we would have enough sense to gather together. I want to get this real quick. This Proverbs 6 and 16, right? Proverbs chapter 6 and 16. These 6 things that the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift and run into mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. So people that plant seeds of division amongst brothers is the highest abomination in this verse right here. You know, Israel may do that. You even have these nations that do that. So if this is the highest offense from Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and it involves the brotherhood, the Most High's highest offense that he hates is not about anything necessarily done to him. It's about what's done to his sons. You understand? He says he hates someone that sows discord amongst the brethren. And we got to patch that up, man. There's too much discord sowed. And we got to pull all this stuff up by the roots, man. And pull up all of the confusion and seeds of madness by bringing about unity through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shah. Let's go to Nehemiah chapter 4, right? This is Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse number, let's start at, get straight to the point. This is Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse 17. Now, this is during the time where Israel was scattered abroad, and they were building the walls and building and repairing the gates and the doors and everything that came to the temple, right through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shah. So, like Nehemiah 4 and 17. They which builded on the wall, and they that bear burdens with those that laid it, every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other held a weapon. And with the other hand held a weapon. So they were laboring, literally putting bricks together with one hand, hammer, and they had a sword to defend their brother, and to defend their families, and to defend themselves. For the builders, every one had his sword girded by his side, and so builded, and he that sounded the trumpet was by me. And I said unto the nobles, and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, the work is great and large, and we are separated upon the wall, one far from another. And these are the days that we're living in now. This work that we're doing is great and large. This is the largest construction project ever done, ever conceived. I've never seen any building where it's just one person. How would the building ever get done? It's inefficient. It's not productive. It's unwise. You got burnout. You got rework. Nobody's going to tell you, hey, you missed the spot. It's going to be overthrown. You might think that the work is good. That's why you got all them different. You got inspectors, man. You got foremen at the site. You got experts. You got what they call them like master carpenters. I believe that's the term. Master electricians. You got apprentices that learn. All of those positions are at the work site for the betterment of the project. You got the guy that know the blueprint. You know, you got the night guys that may keep watch, make sure there's no theft going on with the materials. This work is great and large, and the more competent workers you have, the quicker that building is going to get built. And when they have work like that, you got to have a head count. You have to have a labor costs, capital expenses, all that stuff goes into a construction project. And those top guys, they know they have to have people gathered together. And that was the days of Nehemiah. Everybody was separated upon the walls, far from one another. So Nehemiah had to do something about it, because they, if they got attacked, all hell would have broke loose. They wouldn't be able to defend themselves. Doesn't matter if they had a weapon on their hand. They was too far apart. Nehemiah 4 and 20. And what place, therefore, ye hear the sound of the trumpet, resort ye thither unto us. Our God shall fight for us. See that? And these are the days you're in now. Back then, when they heard the trumpet, they had to leave wherever they was and run to where everybody was at, so they can defend one another. And the Most High can defend them. See, our God is going to fight for us, but that's predicated on you gathering together. The Most High wasn't going to fight for them if they stayed separate, because it was defiant and it was out of order and it was off. But the Most High is going to fight for you when you're with your brothers, right? Let me get that in Matthew 18, and you got it, King. One more. St. Matthew chapter 18 and verse number, I'll say 19. Again, I say unto you, that if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. Can you see that, man? They go to Amos' point he was saying. If you got a brother and he agrees with you and what you're praying for, rather you're trying to overcome something or move a mountain out the way or have a door opened up, and that brother agrees, y'all are in the same spirit, you're going to have whatever you ask. It didn't say if one of you, it said if two of you. It's going to be done. So you gotta have that, that man there with you, that brother. For where two or three are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. So the Lord said he's going to be there once you're gathered together in his name. Two or three. You don't have to have 3,000 men to feel like you're gathering together. The Lord said a threefold cord is not quickly broken. So how is the Lord going to be in the midst of you if you're there with like-minded brothers? If you isolate yourself, then you're going to have a hard time the Lord fighting for you. You're going to have a hard time the Lord being in the midst of you. Right? What you got, King?
Yardan said he was backstage.
Okay, Con, let me get him in here. I'll praise to the Most High. Shalom, King.
Shalom, King.
Shalom, Kings.
Yeah, about you, outside Brakatah.
Shalom.
Yeah,
Con, that precept reminds me of Judges, the 8th chapter. Right? Going up to fight with your brothers, man. You got to be like Ephraim in this point. Right? Ephraim was mad because they didn't get to go up and fight. Right? You got to be that brother who's ready to fight with your brother at any drop of the dime. We're not talking about physically all the time. We're talking about spiritually. Right? Spiritually, sometimes your brother's in a rut. Sometimes your brother needs somebody to lift him up, yoke him up by his collar so he can stand upon his feet. You know, like even King David, when King David was moping around, right, when his son wanted to, when Absalom was going the hell off, right, he had men who got him together. You need men to get you together. And there's nothing wrong with being corrected. There's nothing wrong with understanding that this brother was sent forth from the Most High to be able to help me do what I need to do in these last days. Quick precept before we go to that. Can we get Proverbs 16:1? Right, it's Proverbs 16:1. Right, and we have to remember that we always have something to say, but it's not from us. It comes from the Most High. Right, you may conjure up your thoughts in your mind to speak, but it's the Most High speaking through you, being a vessel to exhort, condemn, correct, strengthen another brother. Right, this is Proverbs 16:1. The preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. Right? So it's nothing you say that is not coming from the Most High. Whether he calls you to say something wicked or whether he calls you to say something righteous. So the Most High is the one who's using you as a vessel and an oracle to speak such things to somebody to give them strength, right? To give them conviction, to make them ponder upon their own ways. Right? That's all the workings of the Most High. The Most High is so omnipotent and powerful, you can't even understand it. Like even the words that I'm saying now is coming from the Most High, but it's the vessels that the Most High set up to be able to speak these things to our people. Right? So let's go back to Judges chapter 8:1. Right? We got to remember that, it's not always just for your edification. Right? The reading that you did isn't just for you. Right? The cold cut you did isn't just for you. Right? It's for the edification of all the nation. Right? This is Judges chapter 8 and verse 1. And the men of Ephraim said it to him, why hast thou served us thus, that thou callest us not when thou wentest to fight with the Midianites? And they did chide with him sharply. Right? They were so mad, right, that Gideon didn't call them up. They was going back and forth with him. Right? Can we get the definition of chide, Baba Kishar? Right? Imagine somebody so zealous that they mad that they couldn't come and be a participant of fighting with their brothers. Right? To chide means to scold, reproach, express mild disapproval of someone, usually to correct the behavior. Right? They were chiding with him. They were like, man, why would you do that? What purpose did you have to do that? And I got X amount of men right here ready. We've been waiting for these actions, man. Right? Brothers get excited when they see somebody dealing with something on the highways and byways because we got the perfect remedy through the Spirit. A little bit of Proverbs, a little bit of Jeremiah right here, right? A dash of Acts, and to top it off with some Matthews, Luke, and John. Right? That's how those brothers felt, man. They was like, we were ready to go to war. We were ready to fight. Right? Can we go back to Bob Kishar? Oh, wait, hold on. It's a little more to that. It says, it is generally used when someone's actions are deemed foolish or inappropriate, often without harshness. Right? So when somebody does something that don't seem correct, right, you gotta chide with them. You gotta correct them. You gotta let them know this is not what you should have did. Man, we was waiting, we was ready. And let's see what happened after that. Right, and it says, he said unto them, what have I done now in comparison to you? Is not the gleaning of grapes of Ephraim better than the ventures of Abiezar? God had delivered into your hands the princes of Midian, Orab and Zeb, and what was I able to do in comparison to you? Then their anger was abated towards them, and when he had said that, right? So he was like, look, man, look how the Most High had all this worked out. And you mad at me? What could I have done compared to what you have done? Right? Kind of bigging them up. Right? Look, this is how it played out. Right? And the Most High had all that contention and anger to cease. Right? But you have to be like these brothers. You got to be ready and willing to be a defense for your brothers. You got to be ready and willing to do all that you can to strengthen your brother, no matter what's going on. Right? Can we go to Sirach, the 11th chapter? Pumpkin Shot. See where I want to start at. I don't even know where I want to start at. Right, I'm gonna start at verse number. I'm gonna start at verse number 5. Right, I'm gonna start at verse number 5. Right, it says, "Oh, can we go one more verse? I'm for sure. Come. This is Sirach, chapter 11 and verse number 4. Right, it says, "Boast not of thy clothing and thy raiment, and exalt not exalt not thyself in a day of honor, for the works of the Lord are wonderful, and his works among men are hidden." Right, so while we're moving into these last days, right, even Paul even told you in these last days that men will be boasters, proud, right, lovers of themselves, right, with inordinate affections. So in these last days, we can't be boasters of ourselves. We have to big up and boast of our brethren, right? Give them that confidence, right? Because the works of men are hidden, right? It's a brother right now who's out helping the homeless, feeding the meals. It's a brother out there who stopped to help a sister with her 3 kids in the car to change the tire, right? We have to realize that boasting of ourselves brings forth nothing, right? And all of our works is to better Israel, right? All of our works is to help our fellow Israelite, right? Nothing we should do, on a how do I want to say it? Nothing we should do should be just solely for ourselves, right? That selfish mentality is not going to go far in these last days, right? When you go to work for your family, those who have families, right? Even at work, you can't just work and say, I'm doing it for myself, right? You have a team environment, right? It's always about what you can do to help the next person, right? Many kings have sat down upon the ground, and one that was never thought of have worn the crown. Now, you can be moving in a funny spirit and not even know that you're offending the elect, right? Oh, you're part of that camp. I can't even deal with you. I can't deal with you. And not realizing that you could be talking to the very elect who we're supposed to be out there to seal so we can get out of here. Many mighty men have been greatly disgraced and the honorable delivered into other men's hands, right? So we have to understand that everything we're doing is to make sure that everybody can be honored in due season, to make sure that everybody can see the beauty in the brotherhood that the Most High has set up, to make sure that everybody can see the benefits of a brotherhood, right? Because if you fall, and your hands aren't there and you was wicked and you was talking crazy and you was moving like that, the Most High is going to have you with a great overthrow, right? You're going to be made an example onto Israel. And people going to use you as an example of how not to be. Right, with that, I yield.
You got
Con. Brothers, hear me?
Con.
I'm going to begin with Sirach chapter 33, verse 17. Adding to brother's points. It reads, "Consider that I labor not for myself only, but for all of them that seek learning." And this can be applied on many levels through the Spirit. As the brothers recently just brought out, our forefathers labored for the whole nation when it came to war, but not only war, but also with studies and spiritual matters as well. That's why you have counselors. That's why you have brothers. So you seek out advice. And the things that you go through, they're never just for yourself, right? Something you may go through, it may be so you can give an account and or a testimony for the next brother. And tell brothers all the time, you're never in this truth by yourself. And that's 100% true. Even the things that you personally endure and you're afflicted with, I mean, it's a testimony for the next brother to let him know he can get through it as well, the same way that you were able to overcome that through the precepts, fasting, whatever means was possible on the right hand side. I want to follow that up with the book of First Thessalonians, chapter 3, verse 2 in the GNT Baba Kashar.
Con. 1 Thessalonians 3 and 2.
God.
Con.
While we sent Timothy, our brother, who works with us for God in preaching the good news about Hamashiach, we sent him to strengthen you and help your faith, so that none of you should turn back because of these persecutions. You yourselves know that such persecutions are a part of God's will for us. For while we were still with you, we told you ahead of time that we were going to be persecuted. And as you well know, that is exactly what happened. And so our forefathers was persecuted. And the church, having so much love for Paul, they were worried, you know. And I'm sure many other emotions that I can't really say at the moment, but I mean, that's just one word to really convey how they were feeling. It was worried. But he's exhorting them. While Paul is still being persecuted, he's exhorting them through the Spirit. And in his exhortation, he explains to them, hey, we told you this was going to happen. Don't marvel at this. You know, we sent Timothy to you. You know, we sent Timothy for a reason, to strengthen y'all, because he knew the condition of that church. He knew the spirit of that church. So they had to be fortified. And what helped them? A persecution. That persecution had to come just for them to be strengthened too, on another level. So as we continue to read, that is why I had to send Timothy. I could not bear it any longer, so I sent him to find out about your faith. See that? So Paul and the apostles, they was catching hell and affliction. And Lord, behold, the Lord moves in ways man cannot even imagine. And so it was all beautifully set up because now the church, they're faced with a predicament or a situation to where, like, where's my faith going to lie? Should I fear because men were persecuted or what? And so, this is a great opportunity for them to have that increase of faith through the Spirit by Timothy and by the letters of Paul. That's just really to wrap up what brothers were saying as well, or to add to what brothers were saying as well. You're not in this truth for yourself. You're going to go through things that's going to affect the next brother. And so it did with Paul and the church. I'm going to get one more. Let's see. Matthew 26 and 24.
So I feel. Matthew 26.
Keep
All
it
right.
a just balance. You don't want to have so much love in your heart for one brother, but then hate the next that you may have a million differences with. And you got to be careful with what type of feelings you have for another person, because it's a thin line between love and hate, as they say. That's not what I want.
Which one what you looking for?
Woe to him that's or calm,
Well, it's Matthew 5, if I'm not mistaken.
calm, Matthew 5.
So 5 and
Is it 20?
there would be. I'm overlooking at.
Oh, there you go, 22.
Um,
The water. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Racha, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say thou fool shall be in danger of hellfire. You just got a heap of hate in your mind towards a brother, and you may not really know it. It may be considered light unto you. You got a million things to say, just a million. He's not teaching. He's not doing this. He's not doing this. It's a lot of spirits, Those men that spoke to Yahushua, I said, well, look, Lord, these men, they're not teaching your name. So hold on. If they be not against us, then they are with us, or they are for us. So it was a different spirit back then. That's not to say, you let all of a sudden you just be accepting of persons and things of that sort, but there's balance, there's wisdom, there's prudence that all have to be applied with these verses that brothers are bringing out through the spirit. That's not to say we're going to accept the man as just teaching that, Christ didn't exist, or Moses didn't, whatever.
right.
Anything. So with that, I yield.
All praise to the Most High. Shalom, Kings.
Shalom, okay.
Could I get a First Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 17 all the way down? It says, but we brethren, being taken from you for a short time in presence, not in heart. That's a beautiful thing to say, man. Because you should desire to see your brothers. For brothers that do travel and see other brothers, other camps, you may visit your family, man. Right? My family in Florida. Other brothers, they family could be in Mississippi, throughout the four corners of the earth. You don't see brothers like that, especially brothers that refresh your spirit, that had the same mind as you. That's rare. It says, but we brethren, being taken from you for a short time in presence, not in the heart. So your heart can still be with a brother and or a sister, even though you're not there in the flesh. It says, endeavored the more abundantly to see your face with great desire. You got to desire to see brothers' faces, man. Let's not see brothers' faces just because it's Passover. That's the only time you see brothers' faces, because it's a high holy day, man. You should want to travel. See, when all this thing is shut down and these bridges going down and all of the plane tickets and things are being revoked and things are being withdrawn, you're going to wish you took the opportunity to travel. It says in Second Esdras, man is going to desire to see another man. Right here, another man's voice, paraphrasing. It said, the more abundantly to see your face with great desire. Wherefore, we would have come unto you, even I, Paul, once and again, but Satan hindered us. So Satan's job isn't just to afflict you with lust, to afflict you with spirits of drunkenness, to afflict you with spirits of, hatred of you and your wife, man. Satan's also job is to hinder you from seeing the brother. And a lot of brothers, they don't grow in this truth because they don't adapt themselves around brothers that can help them. The Lord said, iron sharpeneth iron, so is the countenance of a friend, paraphrasing greatly. So you want to be around brothers that help you. Brothers going to rebuke you, reprove you, lift you up. You got job opportunities. Brothers may know how to fix a car. My brakes went out not too long ago, and the brother Nashaya in Baltimore, he know how to fix brakes. You know, I didn't have the luxury to go into him because it was an urgent matter, but nevertheless, brothers are there for you with precepts, right? Emotionally, man. Brothers can act like, you know, brothers don't catch hell and, you know, they the mightiest Hebrew Monday through Monday, Sunday through Sunday, but brothers catch hell, man. Brothers vent, or brothers get counsel, right? Like I said, brothers get help on a carnal level with car parts, getting a drive somewhere, taking you to work. Or brothers' job as a brethren don't just stop when you leave camp, or don't just stop, right, when the brother leaves your house. Now, this is a 24-hour job that the Most High put in the spirit of man to show that brotherly love. It says, for what is our hope or joy or crown of rejoicing? Are not even ye in the presence of our Lord Yahweh Shah? So that's his crown. His crown wasn't all of the law that he knew from front to back. Being a top Pharisee, right? Coming up under the feet of certain men in the schools. That didn't matter. He said, you know what? My crown is the brethren that I'm presenting before the Lord at his coming. For ye are our glory and joy. And that's a beautiful thing, man. That those men rejoice their spirit. And the coming of Paul did a lot for the church. You know, you never know what a brother spirit does to you, man. You may need a laugh. You may be catching hell, man. It's that brother. This brother always making a joke, man. You need that. You need to suppress. Like people say, like people in the world, they say, I want to go on a vacation. The men of the Lord don't have the luxury all the time to go on vacation. Our funds are bound up. I'm not speaking for all Israel, but myself. Predominantly, my funds is bound up for my household and to travel for the work of the Lord in these feast days. I don't have the luxury to go on vacations and do the things that other people do to unwind. So when I do have a little wine and I enjoy the brethren and brothers come together in peace and unity, right? That keeps a man sane in captivity, man. Because a lot of people, they don't have that luxury. Like it's saying Tobit, paraphrasing greatly, all men, all nations have not counsel, man. All nations don't have brotherhood. All nations don't sweat and labor to push to forgive like we do in the laws that we have through the Spirit, man. So you want to rejoice, and enjoy that the Most High set up through the Spirit, man. But brothers got it.
Con, it is right, man. And it's a beautiful thing to have brothers around you. You know, once you join and get with the brothers, man, it's irreplaceable. I couldn't imagine being in this truth alone, man. I mean, it damn near be depressing. You know, like the brother said, man, every brother brings something to the table, man. Every brother got different spirits and different gifts and different talents too. That's the body of Yahweh Shah. You read about that in Romans chapter 12, 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. You read about the Most High have different administrations, but it's of the same spirit. So if you're a brother and you're around brothers who have these different talents and administrations, you can get built up on so many different levels, right? One brother may have the word of wisdom. One brother may have the gift of tongues. One brother may have the spirit of counsel. And if you're part of the body, you'll benefit from the body because the body works cohesively and all the parts depend on one another. When you detach yourself from the body, it's over with. People cut off their thumb. If there are certain surgeons, and there are certain times where, depending on how long that thumb been off their hand, they can attach that thumb back again. Maybe they'll put it on ice. They'll take it. They could put that thumb back on. But if that thumb has been off too long, no matter what you try to do, that thumb died out and it can't attach back to the body. You know, so you want to be able to keep yourself part of the body, right? This is what I want Philippians. It's like a Philemon, right? Get this right precept I want, right? This is Philemon 1 and verse number 7. It reads, even as it is meet for me to think of you all, because I have you in my heart, inasmuch as both in my bonds and in the defense and confirmation of the gospel, yea, all are partakers of my grace. For the Most High is my record, how greatly I long after you all in the bowels of Yahushua HaMashiach. And Paul greatly longed after the brotherhood, man. Right? And you have to ask yourself, what spirit are you in? Some brothers don't like being around the brotherhood, man. You know, some brothers are full of debate, they're argumentative, they're contentious. Some brothers just want to be with a woman all day. Ain't nothing wrong with being with your woman, but you got to be around brothers. Some brothers don't know how to be a brother. You have to learn how to be a brother. You have to learn how to communicate, learn how to take a joke, learn how to help out, learn how to, speak, huh? You know, this is part of being a man as well through the spirit. You want to be that brother that's just, like the brother said, you only see him with a Passover. He don't know nobody. You just sitting in the corner and he got his arms folded, scoping the scene out. Right? So you want to long after the brotherhood. And this I pray, that your love may abound yet more and more in knowledge and in all judgment. So you want your love for the brotherhood to abound, and it's like it to abound. This is Philippians, it's like abound and abound, right? But that's the spirit. I want to get this in Philemon. See, that was Salaki. So I want this as well. That's what I want. I want Philemon 1 and 7 as well, right? It reads, for we have great joy and consolation in thy love, because the bowels of the saints are refreshed by thee, brother. Right? Wherefore, though I might be much bold in Hamashiach to enjoin thee that which is convenient. So you want to be a brother that comes around and brother spirits are refreshed. I know I can't wait till camp, man, on Friday. Brothers see brothers walking from the parking lot, walking, to the camp spot. Brothers be smiling, man. Brothers actually hug brothers. You know, brothers actually embrace brothers, man.
Holy kiss.
Yeah, all of that, man. Some brothers just sit down after camp. They be beat, worn out, working God knows how many long hours. And to sit there and just talk to brothers, it helps them get through the rest of that day, man, through that week. You know, so if the saints didn't have Philemon or Onesimus and all these men, they wouldn't be refreshed. Studying so much could that could wear you out. Being around this world could wear you out. You know, there's nothing equivalent to being refreshed by the brotherhood, right? And let me get one more real quick, and brothers got it. Let's go to the classic in Exodus 17, right? Exodus chapter 17 and verse number, I'll get straight to the point, 11. Exodus 17 and 11. And it came to pass when Moses held up his hand that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. So this is Joshua and the men. They fighting against the Amalekites. Moses got his staff in his hand. He's holding up his staff. And as he holds up his staff and holds up his hands, the children of Israel are winning the battle. But he's in the flesh. So he lets his hand down because he gets tired. His hands get heavy. Now, Moses, you could say, well, hold on, I thought his natural force wasn't abated. I thought he was the same strength. But that doesn't mean anything, man. Well, I thought Moses, he was the man of God and the Lord appeared to him. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Everybody's hands get heavy. Right? Everybody's hands, I don't care how a brother may portray himself, every brother's hands get heavy in his walk. Right? Exodus 17 and 12. But Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the other side, and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And that's what brothers got to do in the spirit. Right? Brothers' foundation should be Yahushua, that stone. And you should have brothers to be able to lift up your hands, help you with this work, help you overcome these spirits of depression, doubt, sad days, angry days. And that should be for until the going down of the sun, until this man's kingdom go down in the spirit, until this place is destroyed. So Joshua, it's like, yeah, Joshua wouldn't have won the battle, and Moses wouldn't have been able to lift up his son without the brotherhood. It was working on so many ways. And one more point, Joshua, he wasn't looking back at Moses. There's no account of that. And seeing if Moses had his hands lifted up. So you never know like Amos said, the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. You never know what's happening behind the scenes. And how brothers helping you can help out a whole nation and help out a whole brotherhood. Right? And well, brothers got it. Well, one quick point, you might be in the spirit. You might feel like you're in the spirit because you've been studying and reading and you've been watching the videos, taking notes. That might not even be the case. It might just be the fact that brothers was praying for you. You know, but brothers got it.
Quick precept to go with that. Romans chapter 15:1. Right, that's a huge point right there. Right, we tell brothers we are our brother's keeper. Right, it's no ifs, ands, or buts when it comes to being a part of Watchmen for Israel. Right, this is not a commandment of man. It's the commandment of the Most High to be your brother's keeper. Right, to strengthen your brother when he's going off, when he's feeling weak. Right, that's what this verse say. Romans 15:1. We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities. We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak, and not to please ourselves. Let every one of us please his neighbor for his good to edification. Right, so we're commanded to bear the infirmities of those who are weak. Right, those who may not be as strong as they once were. Those who, like the brother said, brothers have long weeks. Right, brothers go and talk about the hell that we catch throughout the week, but through the spirit of the Most High, just being around brothers gives us that strength to continue on, right? To push forward more towards the mark, right? Just seeing brothers, like the brother said, brothers hug, man. Right, the brother ABA Thar out here in Baltimore, he'll hug you for at least 15, 20 seconds. Right, you try to pull away, be like, nah, King, shalom. It's good to see you, man. I love you. Right, brothers need to hear those things. Right, stuff like that. It doesn't make you weak to say you love a brother. That makes you strong. Right, that's validation. Right, a quick precept. I just thought about it. 1 Corinthians, the 9th chapter. We can start at the 18th verse. As well, you got to be multifaceted when it comes to dealing with the brotherhood or the sisterhood. Right, you can't be one way with everybody. Right, brother, be like, I was like this my whole life. Right, no, brother, you gotta be multifaceted. You gotta be able to interact with a brother who may not have grew up the same way you grew up. Right, maybe he didn't drink Kool-Aid and eat hamburger helper. Right, but he had home cooked meals every night. Right, you still should be able to interact with him. Or it's a brother who likes anime, but you like sports. Right, that shouldn't matter. You should be able to deal with every brother according to the measure that the Most High has given you. Right, that's a gift that the Most High has given brothers. Right, that's how you magnify the name of the Most High, by using those talents. Right, you're able to talk to a brother who's from the tribe of Issachar, and you can talk to a brother from the tribe of Benjamin and be able to connect on something so subtle. Right, so this is 1 Corinthians 9, verse number 18. What is my reward then? Verily, that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Hamashiach without charge, that I abuse not the power of the gospel. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself a servant to all, that I might gain the more. Right, so we have to make ourselves a servant to all that we can gain the more. Meaning you got to be willing to help your brother when he needs help. Right, put your problems and things you're dealing with to the side for the betterment of that brother in his household. Right, I don't have to do counsels with these brothers. Man, I can't even put a number on it. Right, we have to put all our problems to the side to make sure that the problem at hand is attacked full-fledged. The spirit is moving to get back from the stubble that was created from a situation to that beautiful castle or that beautiful mansion that the Most High has set up. So this is verse number 20. And unto the Jews I became a Jew, that I may gain the Jews. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I may gain them that are under the law. Right? So sometimes you got to fit in with people you're not too comfortable with fitting in with. And that's nothing wrong. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Right? That's how you become a friend. Right? Isn't that what it says in Sirach, the 6th chapter, the 7th verse? You got to prove a friend. Right? This brother, Naquan may like R&B. I may like heavy metal. You know what, brother? Let me send me some music so I can hear what you like to listen to. Right? Listen to the music. I come back and I can talk to the brother. Right? Yardan may like to draw. I may like to play basketball. Right? Y'all send me some of those drawings you did. Right? I got a picture that I want you to draw when I was hooping. Right? You have to think outside the box when you're in this truth. Right? A lot of Israel put things into a box and they don't see the bigger picture that the Most High has put forth before them. Now, yeah, these are small matters that I'm bringing up as examples, but that's just how simple it is. Connecting with a brother on something so small can mean the world to him. Right? The brother could be having the worst day at work or worst day at school. And that small conversation, man, just uplift and change the whole situation that brother was thinking about. And to them that are without the law, being not without the law to God, but under the law of Hamashiach, that I may gain them that are without the law. To the weak became I as weak, that I may gain the weak, and I made them, Salaki, I am made all things to all men, that by all means some save. Right? So to the weak, you got to become weak, man. For brother going through it, you got to go through it with him. Right? A brother may have lost a family member. I lost a family member with you, brother. Right? Let's sit down and we can mourn together, man. Let's sit down and we can talk about it. Right? That's how we have to be. It's so much selfishness going on in this truth. We forget the spirit that Yahweh Shah has placed upon us, that we're supposed to be united in every aspect. Right? Not just to go to camp for 4 hours and then you a stranger throughout the week. Not just to hold a unity camp once a year and then brothers never hear from each other. Right? We're supposed to connect on every aspect as concerning this truth, that we can save more. Right? It was a brother at my job. He saw an Instagram thing, what happened at camp. Right? The video will go up soon. But all hell broke loose at camp. And the brother said, I saw strong brothers standing together with each other. He said, I already knew who was in the wrong. And he don't know nothing about the truth. Right? So you get to talking a little bit, but that's the beauty of brotherhood. That's the beauty of solidarity. Right? It shows the spirit that you're moving in. Right? I got one more. Sirach 6 and 13. Not to be long-winded. Right? Touching on the point of brothers being your strength and the muscle you need to withstand. Right? I recently started hitting the gym more. So once you start feeling that burn when you lifting those weights, that's when the reps truly start to matter. I forgot, Salakia, the proper term that you're supposed to use when you start to get tired and you count them from there. But that's how a friend is, man. A friend can only be known in adversity, because in prosperity, everybody's your friend. Right? MC Hammer lost, 100 million?
Yeah.
Something crazy. Guarantee you, all the people who was dancing with him with the hammer pants and enjoying the champagne nights and swimming in his pool, they not checking for him now. They're not asking if his family is okay. Did he need anything? So a friend is known in adversity. Right? This is Sirach 6 and 13. Separate thyself from thy enemies and take good heed of thy friends. A faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that has found such as one hath found a treasure. So you can't find a faithful friend if you don't open yourself up to prove a friend. If you're just sitting in the house typing on the keyboard, no disrespect to people watching this and may not have a congregation. Most High willing, you find one, but you can't willingly separate yourself because you don't like how one camp treated you. Right? We have to find a strong defense in this truth. Right? A brother who you can look at or a sister you can look at and know, man, this person is going to build me back to where I need to be. All praises to the Most High. Right? Two more and I'm going to pass it. Nothing doeth countervail a faithful friend, and his excellency is unvaluable. Right? Nothing compares to a valuable friend. Right? You can have all the cards in the world. Right? That was a R&B song. Right? It was Cisco.
Yeah.
I can't incomplete. Right? He was talking about his woman, but that's how it is with brothers. Right? I can have everything, but without you, I'm incomplete. That's how it is. Imagine not being able to see the people who you labor with, laugh and joke with. You'll feel incomplete. Right? You'll be brokenhearted. Verse 16, a faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find him. So if you truly fear the Lord, that faithful friend will be presented to you. Right? Like he fell down from the third heaven just to be a friend to you and to be that medicine of life. But with that, I yield.
Can we jump to verse 10 in that same chapter, Papa Shah? Let's start off actually 9 to 10. Sorry, 9 to 10.
Chapter 9, verse 10.
Con. It reads, forsake not an old friend, for the new is not comparable to him. A new friend is as new wine. When it is old, thou shalt drink it with pleasure. Right? And I thought about this verse because to have an old friend means you know how to endure. Because there's not one friendship, relationship, family that doesn't get into it or that doesn't go through their trials and tribulation. And to be able to endure and make yourself bold and strong and withstand the wiles of the devil in that friendship, I mean, it's beautiful. You got stories to tell. And that's what you call longevity within a relationship. And that's just comparable to old wine. And, I haven't had old wine, but I mean, we can imagine it tastes pretty delicious. So that feeling of drinking that old wine is similar to having a friend for a very, very long time. Just to really highlight and paint the picture that you got to hold close to those that are around you through the spirit. Don't be so emotional and or let anything drive away the brotherhood. I want to follow that up with 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17. Is that the KJV?
Con.
Honor all men, love the brotherhood. He threw that in there for a reason. He said, love the brotherhood. How do we love each other? Of course, we keep the commandments. I mean, Yahushua even expanded upon how you love a brother. He said, if a man sue you, hey, give him your cloak and your garment. The Lord expounded upon how to love your brothers through the spirit of power. The scriptures and what was said. And then one more in Bell and the Dragon chapter. Yeah, it's only 1 and 33.
Con.
Now there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk, who made a pottage and had broken bread in a bowl and was going into the field for to bring it to the reapers. Now this is, if you ask, it's like, what the heck? Most people kind of go over this verse. It's heavy. This is brotherly love.
Right.
It's no telling how long it took him to make that pottage either. I'm sure he didn't just put some gunk in a bowl, stirred it one time, and then threw it at him. But he took his time. He made his brothers a meal to eat. through the Spirit. When was the last time you made your brother a meal to eat? That's beautiful. And being a reaper is a profession. That means he saw them being afflicted, and
Right,
it was
right.
afflicting themselves. Oh, you got it.
Hey, real quick point. He knew it was the harvest time. You only reaping during the harvest, so he was watching. He was monitoring they spirit, like you said.
Can you pull up a Reaper, Baba Kashar?
Come.
Now we're gonna get some folly, I'm sure. We may get the Grim Reaper and whatnot, but okay. All praises. A reaper is primarily a person or machine that harvests crops.
Here you go.
Right? Historically, a reaper was an agricultural worker who manually cut and gathered ripe grains using a tool like a sickle or scythe. Today, the term also refers to mechanical harvesters, such as combine reapers that cut, thresh, clean grain automatically. You can go to a picture of Akshay. Okay, there we go. Well, what if you type in an agricultural reaper?
Come. Well, yeah, I could do Bible too.
Yeah.
Biblical Reaper.
Biblical reaper.
Yeah, let's do Bible. Damn, man, you can't.
Esau is dark.
Right. There you go. Got it.
Oh, there we go. All praises. There we go. It's better than nothing. Or maybe a man with a scythe too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. Okay, I see it. Man got the sickle.
Right.
Hey, he's been it. That look, scroll in. Somebody in the back drinking water.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Come.
somebody in the back drinking water. So it goes to show. Oh, yeah. Hey, it's tiring. It's laborsome work. The man over there carrying, hella wheat, grains. The other guy, they all laboring side by side. It's beautiful. See that guy drinking all the water. Well, I don't know if it's all the water, but he drinking water. And guess what Habakkuk was doing? And he saw those men, and he made them pottage. There's no telling how many men it was. Could have been a big bowl. Who knows? But that's a beautiful account. I love that account. He's breaking the bread, made it look good for him. And I'm sure it was good. I'm sure it wasn't bland. So I want to read it one more time. Now there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk who had made pottage and broken bread in a bowl and was going into the field for to bring it to the reapers. So all praise to the Most High. Sometimes you may have to go that extra mile and make a brother a meal, or bring a brother. Brother say, you gotta listen to. If brother say, oh man, my socks, I gotta get more socks. Get a brother $4 pair of socks. There's nothing wrong with that. If need be. See a brother put a big hole in his. Brothers did that with me. I think I had a big hole in my shoe, but I don't care. I just didn't care, me personally. Brother said, no, we're getting you some shoes. Brother got me some shoes. I don't care. I'm not a big clothes person. The brother said, no, we're getting you these shoes. They all praise the Most High. But with that, I yield.
God, all praise to the Most High. Mighty account. Let's go to James chapter 2 and verse 14. All right, James chapter 2 and verse number 14. It said, what doeth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? For brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food. Right? And that doesn't necessarily have to be physically just food, man. Like to Yardon's point, man, you can need something. And brothers always need something. I don't know a brother that just don't need nothing. Hey, I'm good. Right? No, you got to force the hand sometimes, man. You got to break through that wall Jake got. Jake got that invisible Negro wall. And it's packed with pride, arrogancy, being the man, being on top, never falling, feeling like he don't need no help. You got to break that down sometimes, man. You really got to break that down. A lot of times, brothers only be honest, I guess, with their father or their mother But you got to break out of that shell, man. You'll get the best advice you've ever heard from a man of the Lord and the truth, man. If you've never gotten advice, counsel, right, open up, man. Stop being so sheltered. Here brothers are, hey, Ak, what would you tell a brother that house is out of order? And, he talking about himself in a damn riddle, man. Like he's some ancient old prophet. Brother, just let the brother know what's going on. Trying to sneak counsel, right? You trying to, hurt my back and well, brother, be honest. Right? You got beat up, man. Tell the truth, man. You gotta stop being that Negro wall, gotta break down. You gotta start being honest and tell the truth, man. Because the Most High speaketh through man, through dreams, revelations. And when you're honest and you're sincere, like the scriptures say, like in Genesis, man, in other precepts, you inquire of the Lord. That doesn't mean you just go up in the sky and you look up in the open field, man. You meditate like Isaac, and the Most High is always going to reveal himself to you. And you inquire for the Lord, you go before a prophet. And those men are breaking things down for you and helping you, because they're going to judge not emotionally. They're not going to be biased towards. They're going to tell you plain like it is, man. Right? And you want to have the type of spirit that if you see somebody needing something, right, don't just say, well, I'll pray for you. Don't turn into a quasi-wicked Christian in this truth, man. A brother needs something, pray for that brother. And one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warm and filled, notwithstanding, ye give them not those things which are needful for the body, what doeth the prophet. But if you have the knowledge and wisdom of precepts, counsel, help, right, get it to that brother, man. Don't have your mind to look down subconsciously on that brother that needs help, because the Most High is going to turn his wrath away from that man and put it on you. And you're going to be confounded. Your house is going to be out of order. Your wisdom is going to be taken from you. It says, even so, faith, if it have not works, is dead being alone. And that faith, right, is talking about the works you have to have. If you say you believe in the Most High, then your belief in the Most High has to be predicated off of something. You can't just say I believe in the Most High and you have faith, but have no type of works of anything you did for the Most High. There are thousands of precepts pointing into brotherhood, from the law to the prophets to parables, right? To all things going into the loving your brethren, right? Can I get 1 Corinthians 13 and verse 13? 1 Corinthians 13 and 13. We can start at 1 real fast. It says, though I speak with tongues of men, right? You speak Latin, Greek, right? You go into all in Aramaic, right? Hebrew, right? And of angels, and have not charity, I'm become sounding brass or tinkling something, and it's all for naught. That doesn't profit you. That's not impressive to the Most High that you could speak 1,000 dialects. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and above all things, you're supposed to covet the prophesied, and understanding all mysteries, parables, right? Things that are hidden, and all knowledge. You can go inside of maps, right? You could dive into history. It says, and though I have all faith, so that I can remove mountains. And faith is extremely important. That's along with the works and faith, right? Those are the key things that are going to save you, man. But the Apostle Paul saying, if you had all those things, a man would say, you know what? I don't need nothing else. So that I could remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, right? You done took everything out your house, all your cabinets, all everything that you have, you don't use. You giving that all to the homeless. All the food, all the clothes, everything you have. See, a lot of times people give alms and they give to the poor, which is great, but they forcibly do it, or it's a season in time. It's like brotherhood, the spirit the Apostle Paul is speaking in, is you may do something that's extremely mighty, but you're doing it, right, in a spirit to where you're trying to be perfect. But true perfection is all of those, but the chief above all is charity. And that charity, when it says charity in the Greek, it means brotherhood. Can you jump to verse 13, King? It says, and now abide faith, hope, charity. And you have to have hope, man, because you'll fall off the truth if you don't hope anything, right? And if you don't actually believe this truth, you're going to fall out the truth. It's only a matter of time. If you don't have any faith where the Lord can save you from all the situations you're going through, you're going to fall out the truth. It says charity, but it's like it. These three, but the greatest of these is charity. You can look that word up real quick. Charity. You should look. The greatest of all of those things is affection, goodwill, love, benevolence, brotherly love. So that's above all of those things. And you got to look at that, man. The Lord said it best. Let me get one more real fast, and brothers got it. John 15 and 13. The Lord said it best. And Paul, is moving in the spirit of Yahweh Shah off of this precept. It's the book of John, chapter 15 and verse 13. Greater love have no man than this. So you can't show a greater love than sacrifice. See, a man sacrifice when he goes to work. Somebody could say they love you all day and love bomb you, give you 1,000 flowers, do this, do that. That sound good, but your actions are always going to speak louder than words. That's why 99% of the time you could tell and read an individual off of what do they call it? Not what you say,
Your actions.
like I'm just like this.
I can't.
Damn.
Body language.
Yeah, body language, God, the water. That's probably a bad example. Damn, spirits. Yeah, like how Jacob said, your countenance is not with me as before to Laban.
Right.
Because he can read his spirit, And when you show love, it don't always gotta be about what you say, man. It's about what you do. Right? And you gotta show a brother you love him, man. Pull up, right? Help a brother move. Hit his brother asking brothers to help him move. Now, he's sitting up there trying to lift that couch down 4 flights of steps, man, his apartment building by himself, man. Right? And then you have no reason to why you didn't help the brother. Show up, man. That always means more than anything. You can have your father come to one as a kid, your football games, basketball games, whatever the case may be. All he could do is just stand in the stands, man. That's gonna mean the world to you. I remember when I was a kid, my father came to pick me up. I was at this gym, and I said, man, I was talking to the coach. I said, yeah, I just did this, I just did that. And I said, then I do it, coach. And he was like, yeah, you really did. That's how I watched this, pops. And I ain't make it, But my father was like, yeah, I see you. But little stuff like that, you remember. You remember your people being there for you. You remember brothers pulling up when you need it. And brothers will cry, like Job in the book of Job, right? They had an appointed time to mourn together. I would give everything in the world for one faithful brother. Like how the Lord didn't need thousands and thousands and thousands of warriors. He started chopping down men, 10,000. Start removing men till you got the 300. You want a solid squad, man. And that right there is worth 1,000 men. You want to have a solid men than multitudes of numbers. It said, greater love have no man than this, that a man laid down his life for his friends. And when you really think about it, how many people would do that? That's Romans the 5th chapter. Not a lot of men would do that. Paul even said, I wish myself were accursed for Christ, man, for my brother and my kinsman, according to the flesh. So he wished he could go through the things, right, that the Lord went through. When you're really thinking about it, that's deep, man. Not too many brothers that say that. Yeah, I wish, man, my ankle was twisted, man. I know you got a family. I know you working 2 double shifts. I know you got a lot going on. Now, I wish I would have took that punch, man. I wish I would have got locked up instead of that brother. That's a very meek mentality to have, to put yourself in danger, right, for the saving of your brother. And that's true humility and love. But brothers got it.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the spirit I was thinking about, that Job precept, man. Right, where he actually came and he sat down. And the scriptures say, man, they didn't say anything, man. Right? They didn't say anything. And it's like it, and they just mourned with him. Right? Let me get that real quick. This is Job 2, and I'll read 11. Now, and Job lost it all, man. For brothers that haven't read the book of Job, go back and read that spirit of resilience that he had. Right? It reads, now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him. And when they lifted up their eyes afar off, they knew him not. He even shaved himself off. He had the boils. It was going through it. They lifted up their voice and wept, and they rent everyone his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven. And that's some heavy love right there for a brother. They screamed, lifting up your voice. They screamed when they saw his estate. You know, they took it serious. Some brothers just go through the motions. Hey, Ak, you know, I'm having a rough day. Yeah, Ak, you know, man, you know, got to endure this thing. Ak. Hey, Mark 13:13. Right? Then the brother go back to doing what he was doing, man. Right? Brother, I'm going to send you a precept. He never sent the precept. Brother rushing you off the phone. You know? All right. Brother going through hell, man. And the brothers need this. They rent off their mantles. So that was a heavy spirit they was on. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights. And none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. And silence can mean a lot more than words that are actually spoken, man. Can you imagine sitting with a brother 7 days and 7 nights? Nobody said anything, just holding it down. You know, just mourning with him. Brother just sit down and just, you know, kicking it with you, man. Everything don't have to be, you know, a lot of brothers may not understand the totality of brotherhood because they don't think about this side of it. They think it's just burgers and wine and, you know, shots of Hennessy, man, on a new moon. Or whatever brothers do, man, or whatever brothers do outside of camp. Sometimes this is part of brotherhood. And if you're not willing to give this side to a brother, then you might need to examine your spirit. You know, and then every brother's not going to be a how do I say? A lot of brothers may not want to be part of a brotherhood because they're expecting perfection from a brother. You have to learn how to love brothers even with their flaws. You have to accept them for who they are. Every brother's not Yahushua. I can't be around them brothers because them brothers did this wrong and they did. Every brother ain't perfect, man. You're going to be worse off by yourself. You're expecting every brother to be Noah, Elijah, Enoch, Joshua. No, brothers are overcoming sins. Brothers are growing. Brothers are dealing with spirits. Right? And that might be a proud assessment to have. Let me get this real quick in Acts. And brothers got it. I'm going to be long-winded. Actually, let me get it in 2 Timothy. I'll get this. 2 Timothy, the 4th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 11. Only Luke is with me. Take Mark and bring him with thee, for he is profitable for me to the ministry. And if you remember what happened in Acts, the 15th chapter, you read about how Paul wasn't too fond of Mark. When he got into it with Barnabas, he thought that Mark should have stayed. Mark wanted to go to Jerusalem. He didn't want to take Mark with him. And Barnabas said, we need to take him. And he wasn't too fond of him. Huh? Did he just cast off Mark forever based off of that one action? No, 2 Timothy was later. My brother had a point. Oh, God. Yeah, 2 Timothy came later, man. And he said, Mark is profitable for the ministry. So keeping it brief, man, learn how to accept brothers as they are. If there's a sin and a fault that you can help a brother out with, help him, but don't expect perfection. There's a saying, don't let better get in the way of perfection, right? So you work with a brother, you can be with a brother and, you know, help a brother out, or just sometimes that brother is who he is, man. We got brothers in the camp. Hey, we accept them for who they are. We know that this brother, man, when it's a feast day and his brother, he gonna try to freestyle. Or this happened, this brother, man, he might do this. Or this brother, man, he's known to do this. Right? This brother, he gonna crack a joke. Or that's who that brother is. And that's a beautiful thing about the brotherhood is there's so many personalities, so many spirits, and You want to be around that, man. You know, you don't want to. You're going to set yourself up for failure, expecting every brother to be moving exactly how you think that they should be moving. And if that's the reason why you don't want to be around brothers, then you don't know. You don't read the scriptures, man. Because you had Paul, you had Barnabas, you had Mark. Yahushua was around Peter, John, and James, man. And there was things they said that wasn't right and flaws, you know, but he still trusted them to be with him on the day he was crucified, on the day he was killed. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he took Peter, John, and James and said to pray with him. And he saw their flaws, man. He didn't do it by himself. He saw the flaw in Peter, man. You know, his presumptuous spirit. He saw John and James, sons of thunder. They were bold in the spirit and, you know, want to sit on the right hand, left hand, sons of thunder, call fire down from heaven. All of that, man. That heavy zeal they had. But he didn't let that stop him from the brotherhood. He needed them, and them brothers was there with him, man. But that's all I want to say.
If I may, real quick, just one precept reminded me of that. It's the brother Thomas in John 20 and 24. But Thomas, but Thomas was one of the 12 called Didymus, was not with them when Yahushua came. The other disciples therefore said unto him, We have seen the Lord. But he said unto them, Except I shall see in his hand the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I won't believe, or I will not believe. So brothers had to deal with Thomas.
Yeah.
Imagine hearing that after seeing all the miracles. You was with Yahushua, the transfiguration, and you hear somebody say something like that. You saw a man come back to life from the dead, and you say, Not until I put my finger through his side, I won't believe it. Yeah, whatever. That's got to be vexing. But guess what? And it was still with the brotherhood. They was still with Thomas. He didn't get kicked out after that.
Right.
You know.
Quick precept, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, and we can start at verse number 17. Right? Those are extremely excellent points through the spirit, you know, and also quick point with the judgments of the Most High. You know, yes, they're set forth to correct Israel, judge the nation, but they're also used as good teaching points, right? As every good father, he teaches his sons what to do and what not to do, learn from his actions and things of that nature. So as we read the scriptures and we see how the Most High placed out judgment, when he reserved wrath, X, Y, and Z, you're able to apply it unto your life and how to move in certain situations, right? Like the brother said, in the brotherhood, it's a plethora of different personalities that brothers deal with, right? And just because it's different personalities doesn't mean that there won't be a clash, there won't be a headache, it won't be a hiccup. But the works of the Most High, it allows us to know how to move, deal with certain situations to make sure that nobody's offended, right? Nobody wants to disperse and not come around anymore, right? So we have to apply these precepts and the lessons that are taught with it, right? This is going into the Most High judging these Hamitic nations, right? Solely, well, strictly the Canaanites in this case, but this is Wisdom of Solomon 12 and 17. For when men will not believe that thou art full of power, thou showest thy strength among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest. But thou, mastering thy power, judges with equity and orders us with great favor. So when the Most High judges everything, it's done with the purest form of equity, right? It's not partial, it's not this, it's not that. It's done with the purest form of equity. For thou mayest use power when thou wilt. But by such works hast thou taught thy people that the just man should be merciful, and has made thy children to be of a good hope, that thou givest repentance for sins. Right? So the works of the Most High teaches the just man to be merciful. Right? It's a lot of counsel that we've done where there was actions that was just outright off, and brothers should have got removed, ostracized, so on and so forth, according to the scriptures, right? But sometimes the Most High shows mercy unto who He shows mercy unto. That's also a good thing to learn, right? A brother may step on your shoes and say something crazy to you in the congregation because his mind may be plagued with a spirit. You can show mercy, right? It's all good, brother. I'm not tripping. Right? Brother say, get out my way, soldier. Right? He got a higher rank or something. Right? You know, just throwing out examples, not saying that happens often, right? But that's something that can happen. But you can be merciful. Like, you know what, you got to choose to be defrauded. Take the high road for the sake of the brotherhood, for the sake of the body. It has made thy children to be of good hope, right? So seeing things like that in the congregation gives good hope, right? You see a brother, you know, some families are closer with other families. It gives you hope. It gives you hope that the Most High is working throughout the body, throughout Israel, to show the growth that a lot of people in this truth even say we like. Right? We did Pentecost in Indianapolis. Right? I don't know how many brothers was out there. We probably was at least 120 deep. Maybe not 120, maybe 100. Right? It was a good amount of brothers. And it was people who were saying, I've never seen this type of brotherly love. They were taking pictures. They was confounded. Right? They was just stopping in astonishment. Right? So that's the good hope that the Most High has taught us to show and to have in these last days. Right? So don't let your own wicked and evil thoughts stop you from the love of the congregation. Stop you from gathering together. Because that's all it is an evil, wicked thought to separate you from the body. But with that, I yield.
I don't have anything.
Could brothers go to Sirach chapter 22 in verse number 22? Yeah, that's a mighty point, man.
You want 22 and what, King?
22 and 22. And brothers, you know, like brothers are bringing it out, you know, brothers need that, man. The Most High set that up. You know, like the Lord said, not forsaking the assembly, right, together, paraphrasing greatly. So you can't forsake the assembly, right? In the book of Jude 1:18, Lord said, these are they that separate themselves, sensual, not having a spirit, paraphrasing greatly. So you don't want to be in that mentality where you get sensual, worldly, your mind is carnal, and you separate yourself, man. You know, that's not a mind of the Most High. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 22 and 22. If thou hast opened thy mouth against thy friend, fear not, for there may be reconciliation. Right? You may get into it with a brother, man. Right? The brother may say this is talking about that. Nah, the scripture saying this, and y'all chat back and forth, or whatever the case may be. A brother may be late 55 times. You rebuke him harshly. Brother may be in his feelings. Brother may not ever bring anything to the feast day. He eats all the food and leaves early. You know, brothers going to get into it, man. You know, I've never seen brothers that, you know, have been together for years and years and years and never had one slight disagreement. Don't mean brothers throw hands or yell at one another, but you're going to disagree from time to time, right? And the Lord is saying, look, man, if you open your mouth against your friend, fear not, because there should be a reconciliation. It's except for upbraiding or pride or disclosing the secrets. And another key point of having a friend is knowing how to keep a friend. In the world, you know, we never had the mentality to keep a friend. It was always some vulgar cuss word, them. And it is what it is. On to the next. So that wasn't really my man, right? Or you snake them, you disrespect them, you're rude to them, you're evil toward them, you backdoor them, and you rob them or something lewd, man, and evil, right? If he's not with you anymore, you know where he live, you know what his mother does for a profession. When I was in the world, I had my man I grew up with. I used to have the keys to his house, man. His mother used to leave me in the house, lock up when you leave, man. Right? And I was younger. I used to catch the bus, lock up when you leave, man. I used to take some water, right? Brothers used to be close, man. right? If you really had somebody you was close with and during this truth or grew up with, you knew their mother, you knew their father, like y'all were really close, man. May have wore each other clothes, didn't have a jacket or whatever case, man. You could borrow it, man. You could have that, right? I mean, you can get back to that close bond. It says, except for upbraiding. You gotta know how to talk to brothers, man. You know, you can't just always vocalize how you feel because you never know how that brother's going to take that. To brother's point, every brother is different. This brother may could get yelled at. This other brother, you know, he could form some type of grudge against you. And now his contentions are like bars of iron. And you can't break that down anymore. It says, or pride. No, all the brother asks you to do is just say Salakia. But you too proud to do that. All the brothers are asking you to do is agree to disagree. You don't even have to say whatever I'm saying. I just mutually respect what I'm saying. Some brothers can't do that. Or disclosing secrets. You tell a brother something that's going on, and it could be in your household. You know, Aka, you know, I just, you know, found out XYZ, man. I have a disease. It's embarrassing, XYZ. Or you dive into something that's personal. Just to vent or to express how you feel, man. Because you may not could do that to your woman. But a lot of brothers will take that secret when they're upset and they'll vocalize it. They'll put it on the internet. A lot of people, they'll leave camps and they go on this rant about that camp. That's not sincere, man. If that was sincere, you would have did that while you were in the camp. You would have distanced yourself. It wouldn't have took you being emotional and you catching hell amongst these spirits in your mind. Depart from them and slander them, man. Slander is not a good spirit to have. It says, or a treacherous wound, whatever that may be, man. It says, for these things, every friend will depart. You don't want a friend to depart, man. You know, it take a lot for a brother to distance himself that's a man of the Lord. You know, like the Apostle Paul said, you got to mark them that cause division and doctrines contrary, and things contrary to the doctrine, man. Paraphrasing greatly. So it's not too many things you'll mark a brother and distance yourself away from a brother. So if you're a brother in this truth that left many camps, you can't keep a brotherhood, brothers don't return your phone, you got to examine yourself. Like, damn, what is it about me, man? Am I worldly? Am I not moving in the spirit? And don't just be a taker. All you do is take. You the one always getting counsel from this brother, borrowing money from that brother, pulling up to this brother's house because you don't got nowhere to stay, getting food from this brother. You're just a taker, man. You got to have a just balance. What have you helped another brother out with, man? It's not a good spirit to have either, to be a friend. Every single time you see this brother phone call, you know he needs something. Right? His tire always flat. He always need a place to stay, and he's always catching some type of hell, man. That would grieve a friend. Like the Lord said, man, grieve not the Holy Spirit. Always calling on the Lord when you need something. That's not sincere, man. Right? Always calling your grandmother because you need something. You should want to be able to have a mutual respect and relationship with a brother that when you call him, he's not pinpointing the spirit you always move in of needing something, asking for something, begging for something, man. And people will play that on with their love strings, man. They'll play on your heart. Come on, Ak. You know what I've been going through, Ak. Come on, Ak. Please, Ak. Please, Ak. You don't want to have that spirit neither. You got to watch these people on Facebook, man. They'll message you, hey, Ak, I need $25, you know, till I get paid. Come on, Aki. Right? Then he pull a precept or two. Everybody not sincere in this truth. Everybody's not an Israelite. You got these false pages. Right. You can't trust everybody. You got to watch people, man. You got agent provocateurs, people that are pushing you, right? Like it says in I'll get one more real fast. Luke 20:20. They were just watching the Lord, spying on him, man. You got people that spy on you. I don't know if brothers remember, it was a brother came into school one day. He went in the camp, but he had on his necklace that was that beeping, man.
Yeah, like a GoPro body. He had a body cam.
Just walking to school with a body cam. Right? Then it's Salakia, can I film? Didn't even meet brothers yet, just right here, just blinking. Just walking around saluting brothers, man. You don't want that brother around you, man. You don't know what he's going to do with that footage or why he has that footage. You got it.
Have we? I don't think we ever saw him again.
Yeah, we never saw him again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. See, that's the spirit. It's the
Yeah.
book of Luke, chapter 20 and 20. And they watched him. See that? You don't want your brother watching you, man. Unless he's making sure you're okay. Hey, brother, you had too much to drink. Hey, watch that brother. Make sure he okay with those women over there, or 3 brothers over there. Don't catch the bus. Hey, I got you with a ride home. But to watch a brother, you don't want a brother saying, I'm watching you. I want to watch you. Right? Or something, and they feel like they got some type of spirit on you or against you, man. I want to have the type of brothers around me. My wallet drop if I mispronounce a word or whatever the case may be. They correct me with meekness, not talk about me or watch me and knew that I was on the fall. And sent for spies, which should feign themselves just men. That's off, right? Disguises, man. It says that they might take hold of his words. That's wicked, man. The Lord was so perfect, so upright, so omnipotent, man, and mighty, that they sent forth people to try to catch him and anything that they may have anything against him, man. That's how a lot of people do. A lot of people in this truth. He can't be that right. He can't be that fire. He can't be this mighty. It says that they might take hold of his words, that so they might deliver him unto the power and authority of the governor. And that's off. Brothers got
Con. Yeah, that's right, man. That's right, man. Brothers got any other precepts, or brothers want to bring out closing precepts?
We could do closing precepts. I'll start it off. Let's go to 2nd Esdras 16 and 74. Right, most are willing. Those who were moving in that spirit of isolation and not wanting to congregate, most are willing. This is a an eye opener of how beautiful it is to come together. Two's better than one, and all the mighty points that these mighty brothers brought out. But this is 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, and verse 74. Hear, O you my beloved, saith the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for Yahweh is your God, and the God of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord God. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. Right? So now is the time not to let your iniquities weigh you down. Right? You're in the flesh, you're going to fall short. Right? We all fall short. But the measure of a man isn't how long, or the measure of a man is how many times he gets up after he falls short. Does he just wallow in his filth and say, woe is me? Or does he rise up and keep moving and say, I'm not going to let that happen again, and I'm going to move more in the spirit? Right, verse 77. Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins and covered with their iniquities, like as a field is covered with bushes and a path thereof covered with thorns, that no man may travel through. It is left undressed and cast into the fire to be consumed therewith. Right? So for men who don't want to be reproved and not continue to fall and lay down and get trampled by these demons, you're no better than stubble in the field that's damn fuel to the fire. Right? They got forest fires, I believe, in Utah right now. Uncontrolled forest fires. You just an uncontrolled forest fire waiting to happen. Right? So stand and be perfect in the sight of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Don't let your sins weigh you down, and gather together as we're commanded to. With that, I yield.
Con. Let it point. Luke chapter 7, verse 45, I'm sure. So, verse 44. He turned to the woman and said unto Simon, seest thou this woman? I entered into thine house, thou gavest me no water for my feet, but she hath washed my feet with tears, and wiped them with the hairs of her head. Thou gavest me no kiss, but this woman, since the time I came in, hath not ceased to kiss my feet. My head with oil didst thou not anoint, but this woman hath anointed my feet with ointment. Wherefore I say unto thee, her sins which are many are forgiven, for she loved much. But to whom little loved much, but to whom little is forgiven, the same loveth little. And so she shows how much she loves the Lord through action, not through words, not through a letter. Although a letter can be filled with exhortation and a spirit, but actions are weighed a lot much more heavier. And so even the Lord said obedience is better than sacrifice. And so, I mean, it takes a lot of action to show that you love somebody through the Spirit. And so, as a result, her reward was that her sins, a lot of her sins at that, were wiped away. Whereas if you love the Lord little, through the little bit of your actions, I mean, just a little bit of your sins will be wiped away. And so we obviously strive for greatness and strive to be perfect according to Yahweh Shemel Shai. So you can never go far enough with exalting the Lord and walking an extra mile for your brother to the best of your ability. With that, I yield.
Can we get Revelation chapter 3 and verse number 3? Revelation chapter 3, verse number 3. It says, remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast. All right. So Most High willing, man, this didn't go in one ear and out the other. That brothers held fast to what they received, to the precepts and the breakdown, man. Because there's nothing better than having a brother that can help you no matter the season, the time, the day, a dependable brother you could call on, man. It says, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come unto thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. Right? So you don't want the Lord to pull up on you in a day you don't know, visit you, and blow your candlestick out. So Most High willing, man, brothers continue to examine themselves and stay strong in the spirit.
Come, I praise to Yahweh Shemel Shai. I want to get Revelation chapter 22 and 12. And it reads, and behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. And part of this work is loving your brother, gathering together. That's Genesis 49 and 1 on down. We read Zephaniah chapter 2 and 1 on down. Part of this work is actually making a sacrifice. You may have to drive an extra 10 miles. You may have to drive an extra hour, hour and a half. Sometimes you got to drive 2 hours. I know a brother, he drove 4 hours to be able to be with brothers, to see brothers. You know, sometimes you got to get out of that comfort zone that you in. You know, that introvert spirit that I don't say nothing to nobody, I'm my own man. And you got to break them demons, right? And work to break off those chains of confusion that you can learn how to be a brother, man. You never know what kind of asset that you can be to the brotherhood with your presence being there, with that word that you say, with that help that you do. And that's also part of the work that the Most High is going to reward us for through the Spirit. Not just camp. Camp is only 35% doing the work. The other 65 is behind the scenes, man. You know, how you deal with the brotherhood, how you deal with your household, how you pray, how you are in the Spirit, man, how you worship and serve Yahweh Shemel Shai in sincerity, cleaning your spirit, man, examining yourself, meditation. All of that is part of the work in these last days. You know, so with that, we're going to close up, giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashima Mashiach Malaki Bashar, Brother Naquan,
Brother Amos.
Right.
Brother Yardai.
Shalom.